Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In this session, we are going to demonstrate the use of queries. In the previous session, we demonstrated how to create tables. As I said earlier, from the Create tab, you can create tables, queries, forms, and reports, and these are the 4 items that we are going to cover in this semester. So Microsoft Queries, the second part of the Microsoft Access creation that we are going to talk about. What Microsoft Query is, actually it's an object that's used to view, analyze, and modify data, but based on a specific criteria. You are not going to display everything like tables, because in some cases students ask what the difference between queries and tables. I'm going to view data, manipulate it or analyze it. I can do this with tables. You cannot do it based on a specific criteria, and you cannot do it with flexibility like queries. Okay, so tables is just like this. You can view the table. Of course, you can sort, you can hide and hide columns, or sorry, fields. You can print, but you cannot analyze it, or you cannot view the information based on a specific criteria. So I cannot display, for example, students who passes, or who passed, or who failed, or who are registered in BA110, or who are passed the orientation, or who joined the university in a specific year, or with a specific location or address. You cannot do this with tables, but with queries you can do this and much more. So for example, here I have 2 tables. I'm going to tell you in a while how to link these 2 tables, but at the beginning I'm going to start to create queries to show you how queries work in general, or simply speaking. Sorry, when queries, you can create them using either Query Wizard or Query Design, and I will demonstrate both, but I will start with the Query Design. So first of all, we are going to start with new query form. You see, I'm going to stick to this type only, simple Query Wizard. I'm not going to talk about the other 3 types. Okay, after that you need to select tables or queries. Queries can be applied on tables, or even queries. Okay, but for now I'm going to apply them on one table only. I'm going to talk about the employee table here. Now the first thing to do here in the Query Wizard, to select which field you want to be added to your query. The fields that are going to be added to your query are either the fields that will be displayed in your final query result, or the fields that you want to use in your criteria that you might display, or that you might or might not display. Okay, so for example, here at the beginning I'm going to just add all of them, just to show you what's the difference between adding them and display, or adding them without display. Next, you give the query a name, and then you either open the query to view information or modify the query design. Let's just open it to view information. I'm going to finish, and this is your query result, exactly like the table. Why? Because I selected to display all the fields without a criteria. So in this case, it's going to be identical to my table, and it's saved here in the query under the all access objects. You see, you have all access objects. Of course, you can organize them, filter them, whatever you want. I will display all access tables, and they're going to be categorized or grouped by objects, tables, queries, forms, and so on. So this is my query. When I select and go to the Home tab, you see I can go to the design. When you right click, you can go to the design view or open it. When you open it, it means you display it. So I will go to the design. But if you click here, you see you have datasheet view like tables, design view like tables, but you have this extra little thing which is called SQL view when you write SQL code manually yourself. So I will go to the design view, and this is basically what you need to focus on in this course, the query design. First of all, I have only one table, as you can see, with all fields added. Now if you see this interface here, you have the field from which table, is it sorted or not. You can select to sort ascending or descending order, and you have this show option, which means the field is going to be displayed in the result or not. If it's not, you are using it but you are not displaying it. Okay, you will see why or how it's going to be useful, and the criteria that's going to be written here, and basically the OR. What this OR does, we are going to demonstrate it as we go actually. So we have now the employee table. The employee table have the employee ID, first name. So what's the criteria that I'm gonna write right now? I will say I want to display all employees who lives in the state. This is the state called TX. Okay, you see automatically access adds a double quotation. Okay, automatically access adds a double quotation. If I go to the notepad, let me just show you or demonstrate a very important thing here in access. When you compare a number, you just write the number without anything. If you use the text in the criteria, you should enclose the text by double quotation. If you use a date, you should enclose the date by hashes. Okay, don't forget this. Number, you don't need to do anything. Example here, greater than 20. Okay, as an example here, comma. But here, example equals manama, should be by double quotation. Here, greater than 12, or let's say 10 April 22. So after this date, you cannot write the date without hashes, you cannot write the text without quotations, but the number you just write it like that. Okay, so let me close this, or let me just move it away. Okay, then now we will display the result. You can click run or you can click view, up to you. We will run. You see 1, 2,000, 1,000, because they are all TX. If I go to the employee, they all live in TX. Let me add another employee. Let me add another employee here based on your instructions. Okay, this is going to be 4,000. It's going to be SpongeBob. SpongeBob. It's going to be in 758. Awesome way. Houston. And also TX. 77999. That's going to be 713. Okay. 555, because we have an input mask as explained. 0000. Enter. It's also TX. I'm gonna then apply it to Humble, but you can, for example, just name it AB. Just an example here. Okay, when you close now, let me go back to the design. It's the same TX. When you run, you're gonna see only 1, 2, 3. There is no 4,000. Now let me remove the criteria here and run again. You see we have 4 employees. You go back to the design. Now I'm gonna say I want the city to be here, Humble. When you press tab or anything, you see access automatically adds double quotation. Only the employee called Mickey Mouse will be located because it's Humble. Okay, so now what is the OR criteria? But before the OR, can I have 2 criteria here? Yes, you can have 2 criteria. Like you want the city to be Humble and the state to be AB. When you have and, or when you have 2 criteria in the same line on the same row, that means both of them should be true in order to get information. So now when you run, you have an empty table. Why is that? Because the row or the record that will be displayed must be or must have a city Humble and a state AB, both. So here you don't have Humble and AB in any of the records. You see Houston TX, Houston TX, Humble TX, Houston AB. You don't have them both in the same column, so you'll not be able to display any record. There is no record that matches this. Sorry, let me close. I will go back to the design. But what if you remove this and you put it here in the OR row, the second row? Okay, let me just write AB, double quotation, because ABS is a function. Now you are telling access that I want to display all the records if the city is Humble or the state is AB. Or means any one of them true will be displayed. Now I'm going to expect to have two records, of course, because I have one record with Humble and one record with AB. So you see, this or this is a true, it will be displayed directly. This or this, AB is true, then it will be displayed directly. Now the last thing to demonstrate here is, what if I want to hide? Uncheck this. You see, I will hide the employee ID, I will hide the address, and I will have the zip code and the phone. I will keep just the first, last name, city, and the state. Okay, it's going to be there. Okay, fine. You might say, but I can delete them. No need to add them. I'm going to say, yes, you are right. But what if I want to delete or to display only the first and last name, but not these? You see, they are used in the criteria, so you cannot remove them, but they are not displayed. So now when you show, you see, you're going to see only Mickey Mouse and SpongeBob. Although they are hidden or not shown, you can use them as a criteria. So always you add fields, as I said at the beginning, to your query that you either want to show in the final results, to display in the final results, or you want to use in the criteria. So now, for example, this, I can delete this. I can delete the address, no problem. I can delete the zip code and the phone, also no problem, but I cannot delete this because these are used in the criteria. You see, no change in the results, but now you will not be able to display the employee ID or any other thing. Can I add them again? Of course you can do that. You can just add them here, or you can add them anywhere you want, or you can select from here directly. Both will be okay. So this is basically the query. This is in a very simple, let's say, context. We have other query types: greater than, less than, between, and we are going to display this as we explain the handouts, as we practice the handouts that we have in our materials. Thank you very much for your listening, and see you inshallah in other sessions.